And we're live. Hey, everybody who's logging in. We're just going to get started on recording our podcast, but we're excited to have you guys here with us while we roll. So bear with me while I do the intro. Let's see here. All right, I still have to read it. Sorry, everyone. Welcome to Get Your Shoot Together, the photographer's podcast where we discuss studio, business life, and keeping it all in line. I am Kira Derryberry.
And I am Mary Fisk Taylor, broadcasting from her quarantined home. Got my name. At least you didn't forget your name. At least you did not forget your name.
And my name's harder to say.
This is true. You only have 2 names. I have 3, but mine is still a little bit easier. I'll give you that.
All right. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm good. I'm a solid good.
You're a solid good. I'm a solid good as well. We started, I'm going to tell you guys, homeschooling, not for the faint of heart. It's actually not so bad, except that today is the first day of homeschooling, and it was so stressful to even think about that I just started looking at it today.
All right. So in hindsight, maybe you should have...
Well, I spent most of the morning trying to figure out how to log in to the system. But what was really fun is that once I did I did eventually get logged in about an hour ago. Lucy was just like, "Oh, okay." Like the computer portion of it that we're supposed to be doing, she spends computer time, in the classroom every day, and so she's like, "Oh, click on that, click on that, click on that," and then we just sat there and I watched her do. It was really fun, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. So she's got a lot of actual workbook things. They send home like packets that they have to do, but this computer stuff is great. It's like a game.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
That's good. No, we didn't even have computers when I was.
We had computers, but we had like Oregon Trail.
Yeah,
like just constantly dying of dysentery.
Back. I'm rolling way back. You're just rolling a little ways back. I gotcha. Well, so how was your weekend?
The weekend was good. Weekends are weird now, because they're kind of like the everyday. So I don't know. Everything's just sort of running together. We tried to make it weekend-like. We did a lot of stuff. We actually went to the studio. Nobody's been to my studio. I haven't seen anybody at the studio or done any shoots at the studio since we, started doing social distancing. So it feels kind of like just another home to go to because it's just my family that's been in and out of there. So we went and we hung a bunch of new artwork that just came in from White House.
Fun.
Super fun. So we spent most of Sunday doing that and just cleaning and taking out the trash and stuff. It's funny because it was almost like when this hit, it was almost like when we have hurricanes here and it's just like get what you need and then go hunker down, you know what I mean? So it was like a tornado hit the studio. I just sort of had pillaged everything that I needed.
Got everything you needed and just took it home, right?
Yeah, I just took it home. So how was your weekend? What did you guys do?
Not much. No, I mean, we've been ever since the kids got home, which now it's been 2 weeks, we've been taking on projects, so cleaning out things and doing all this stuff. So that's been really good. Saturday, we all kind of checked into our own space and chilled out a little bit. I think we were all really just tired because we had been doing a lot of things and then the kids adjusting to either, Jax with his online classes and, just kind of dealing with the loss of a lot of things that, he's going through with just school ending and college and fraternity stuff and all that. And, Alex, she proctors a lot. I mean, she has to sit in on a lot of classes. She's a teacher's assistant and she has a job. So she was just tired from all week long trying to catch up with all that. Because last week was their first week back because they were on spring break the first week. So last week was their first full week trying to adjust to this new system, normal or whatever. So I think Saturday everybody was just kind of tired. And then I worked a lot yesterday knowing that I had the first 3 days this week, a lot of stuff going on. So yesterday was a full-on work day for me, but Saturday was pretty chill, so that was good. I fell for the trap, and I did watch The Tiger King.
Did you watch The Tiger King?
I did.
Did you watch it all yet?
I've seen it all.
Oh.
It was a train wreck. I could not stop.
And it's glorious. It's like Okay, so
it's awful, it's glorious, and if you haven't seen it, I don't know. I feel like a bad person even saying watch it, because there were parts of it that I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is just terrible. Actually, most of it was just terrible. But the fact that it was every one of them was just they were just a mystery surprise bag. Like, just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, it got crazier.
Here's this. Yeah. So what's so great about it? Because like you feel uneasy in the first couple of episodes because you've got this real wacky character, and you know that he's unreliable, and you know that the whole thing's about him, and you know that it's going to have some twists and turns revolving around this person. But as you get into the show and you begin to trust some of the people they're interviewing, you begin to trust it's a documentary, and so they're interviewing all these people who are involved, and you begin to go, okay, that person's going to tell it to me straight. This person is the person who's revealing these things about the Tiger King that are so horrible. Until you realize that each and every person they interview throughout the whole series, no narrator is reliable. There's no one you can trust.
No, I thought I trusted the guy that was doing the original documentary. The one who smoked like 3 packs of cigarettes per episode.
That guy,
I thought, okay, well, it's obviously his documentary. And then it wasn't. And then he ended up being a little bit shady too. I can say this. I will never go to Big Cat Rescue.
Oh, no.
If I'm ever in the Tampa area, I'm never going. Mm-mm. I will never wear a flower crown. And they all belong in jail. I think they all belong in jail.
Was the flower crown hard for you to mark off your list?
No, it really wasn't. I just like to say that because I never wanted to wear one anyway. So it just worked out perfectly for me.
I saw, without giving too much away, because I know some people are still going to watch the show, but I did see that his ex-husband, the guy that was shirtless throughout the entire
Which one? Dylan? John.
I did see him. So David Spade has been hosting his show. He has a show that's been on Comedy Central. So he's been hosting his show over Zoom and posting it on his Instagram account and on YouTube. And I've seen him. He's interviewed all the Tiger King people. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you got to go check out what David Spade's doing right now. And he interviewed him, and he has had his teeth done. He's got veneers, and he's wearing a shirt. So it's almost like it was hard to recognize him.
Unrecognizable, because his teeth were social distancing, like on their own. I mean, they got the memo real fast. I actually thought, as a surprise today, but then I didn't want to mess up our intro, but I was going to say, hi guys and gals, cats and kittens.
Hey cats and kittens.
Oh my gosh. All right. We won't talk. I mean, some people are adamantly against it. And for me, being an animal lover, and I was just on a safari for 2 weeks watching, life happen as it should out in like the open savanna of Africa. And you see things out there that I would not photograph. It's just not my cup of tea, but it's happening naturally.
Yes.
What was happening in these places, there's nothing natural about it.
No.
There's nothing remotely safe or good for the animals about it. No. And it's appalling to me that there's more tigers in the United States than there are in the actual jungles.
That fact was insane.
I couldn't believe it, because I saw a lot of tigers and lions, not a lot, but I mean dozens. And I thought, wow, this is great. There's tens of thousands of them, and people let me just throw this at you. Who says to themselves, you know what this house needs? Tiger, a lion, tiger. I mean, you have a cat.
I have a cat.
And that seems very normal. I have too many dogs in my house right now. But I don't know what kind of person it takes to just.
It's the
lion.
It's the cuteness factor. I think the major problem is these richer than sense people in the United States that are, especially like it looked like a lot in Vegas or out there, what I mean? But like those people who are just like, oh, they're so cute. I'm going to have a baby tiger.
Yeah.
And then the problem becomes is when they age out of being cute and manageable, and you can't keep them.
Eat your face up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, just anybody out there thinking about getting any kind of animal, quite frankly, they grow up. That cute factor has to last through all ages, because sometimes, we've seen it all the time. You see it with your local animal shelters, and obviously we work really closely with ours. And I'm actually working on with my local business project right now. I'm working with a local animal charity. And right now, the good news is the shelters are kind of empty because people like are quarantined. So they're like, well, I'm going to be kind of stuck at home. I as well get that animal that I promised the kids or that I wanted to have a companion, and I'm home to train them.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
It's actually, we've actually not considered going to the shelter, but we have this other cat that we have been planning on adopting that my dad has. Yeah. It's like a stray that's been living in one of his buildings. And so one of the things that we're right now trying to figure out, but it's exactly because of that reason, is we're home now. And if we were going to try and introduce this cat into our home, into our other cat, then this would be a really good time to do it, Yeah. But the problem...
Get the Dan stamp of approval.
Get the Dan stamp of approval on Sam. So we're going to have Sam and Dan.
Okay. That sounds like a little...
Sounds like Cheers. Except with dudes.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, but Tiger King, for those of you who are thinking about watching it, it's not kid friendly in that it's a lot of F-bombs, and...
friendly at all.
It's not. So be careful of that, because I think sometimes it's a documentary and it's about a guy who handles tigers. I think you might think, oh, I could probably turn that on while the kids are home. Probably not. No. Not if you have young ones. High school kids, fine. Probably.
Yeah. Maybe.
Depends
on. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. So that was part of my weekend. Alex and I, we went through the closets and stuff. I have all these old shirts, like, bands and like when the kids were in different sports and schools. And so she's starting a t-shirt quilt.
Oh, fun.
So she started cutting those, and we watched Tiger King and kind of reminisced and watched Tiger King. And it was a interestingly bonding experience, and we had fun. So it was good. Over 2 days, like Friday night and Saturday, that's what we did. So
I think what we need to be doing is finding more shows that are obscure. I mean, that one is obviously like, viral, but obscure shows on all of our streaming stuff that are made to watch and make fun of. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's plenty out there.
Oh, there are. I found one.
You always do.
It's on Hulu, and it's a TLC show. So it's nothing, the topic is scandalous, but it's nothing like that scandalous, right? But it's called, I think it's called Sex Landed Me in the ER. And it's so dumb. And it's basically one of those TLC shows where every time they cut to commercial, they re-say the thing that just happened right before they cut to commercial. So you've replayed it like a dozen times. So the best part about this is they've got the actual doctors, ER doctors, like being interviewed about these crazy stories, horrible stories, right? About how people landed in the ER because of some accident revolving around sexual acts. But then they reenact them with actors. And sometimes the doctor plays themselves, and sometimes not. But
wow.
It is definitely a show for mocking. So if you want to sit around and laugh and have drinks, watch that show. It's on Hulu.
Okay.
It's TLC.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well,
it's one of those.
I'll put that on a maybe list.
I'm saying it's not Tiger King. It's going to be hard to top for a while. Although, I've heard that Kate McKinnon from SNL had been planning, or like it was put on hold, but now that Tiger King is popular again, she had been planning on doing some sort of series where she plays Carol Baskin that's about the Tiger King. I know. I really hope
I love her.
I heard that it's possibly going to get greenlit now. Like, it was a thing that was in the works, and then people were like, I don't know. And then, so can you imagine if Kate McKinnon played Carol Baskin?
No.
That would be amazing.
I love her. That would be awesome. Well, tell me more about your studio. So I know that you guys did that on Sunday, because that's exciting. Mm-hmm. So tell me, like, what did you refresh everything? I'm
refreshing everything. So I've been in the studio a year. And what I did is when I moved into the studio, it was such a cost to move into the studio and get everything, rebuilt and everything, that I moved a lot of my samples from the old studio, obviously, into the new one, and just made them work for the space.
Sure.
But I have a lot more space, as wall space in this spot. And everything fit, but there wasn't a reason for it. The only reason for the stuff was because it needed a place to hang. It wasn't like, I've put this here so that when you walk in the door, you're impacted by that. And that helps when you're sitting here. So I've talked to you a lot. I've talked to Greg a lot. And I've talked to Matt over at White House quite a bit. And Matt Hodgman. And from that, I have reordered all new samples. So some of the stuff is work that you've seen before of mine, just because it was still the right image for it. It just wasn't on the right product, you know?
Okay.
So for example, if part of what I'm trying to do right now is push big art, you know, like bigger than a 30 by 40 art, which before in my mind, 30 by 40 was massive. You know, but if I'm trying to push that, I'm trying to show artwork that fits these walls. So the walls that I'm in now, if I just have a single piece on it, a 30 by 40 is pretty dwarfed on there.
Okay.
And so what was happening is people would see the 30 by 40 and they'd go, oh, that looks cool, except probably I want like 2 sizes down from that, or the size down from that. And so now I have a 60 by 40 on either, on 2 places on either side of the sales wall. I mean, when they're looking at their stuff, so that they can go, okay, that's probably too big, but the size down from that, you know what I mean? So, so, and of course that's something you already know, but that isn't something that I have really practiced. I've known that, but it's not something I really practice. So I ordered all new pieces. I have those two pieces. And then I have options. So I have it on metal. I have it on canvas. I have it with the frame, the float frame on the canvas. I have framed fine art now that are bigger and done in groupings instead of like a single framed fine art piece, with and without the glass. So you can see the paper, you know what I mean? Like, cause it's a fine art paper, and when you put a glass over it, it kind of takes away from the paper. But I've got one with the glass and then a series without the glass so that you can really appreciate, you know, how it looks. Right. And then groupings so that you can see how that would look too. And the grouping, I'm just going off now, Mary, I'm sorry. But the grouping one I think is interesting. This is one that Matt helped me with. So before, if I had 4 images on a wall in a group collage in the studio, my mind made me think, oh, I want to show 4 images from 4 different sessions from different, just so I can show as much variety as I can. What Matt convinced me to do was to show 4 images from the same session, so that when people come in and they look at that series of 4, they realize, oh, I need all 4 of these. I don't just need one of those, because I need to be able to show it from my session. So that sort of psychology of sale stuff is what I'm trying to implement. Am I doing it right?
Good. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly how, you know, and that, the good news is we've done that pretty much since we opened. Like, you can't get this at White House. Unfortunately, they don't print over that 40 inch. So we have a 50 by 70 when you walk in, which is very big for our little space. But the reason is that's why we sell so many 30 by 40s, is because people will go 1 or 2 sizes down. So they see that over this small little settee, and I can easily say, well, oh, is your wall about this size? And they'll go, oh no, my wall's way bigger than that. And they'll say, oh, is your sofa about this size? This is obviously like a tiny settee. Nobody has a sofa this small. And like, oh no, well, you know, this might be an appropriate size. So I do sell, you know, larger images because of that, because it's just, they're thinking, wow, my furniture's way bigger and my wall's way bigger. So that probably would look right on my wall. Or the alternative is they'll say, well, no, I think we feel more comfortable smaller. And I can go, well, how about, you know, the 40 by 60 or the 30 by 40 or what have you. And that's the good news. They might buy smaller, they might buy the same, but the whole psychology, there's 2 pieces to it. Their wall's way bigger than mine is in this tiny little Cape Cod house. And their furniture's bigger, and et cetera, et cetera. So that always works. And now with the fact that we've been doing several virtual sales, I had a great one last week. And then I did a huge presentation with our hospital, who's buying 4 new installations from us, because they all have time now to sit and get this done. That having all those pieces, and instead of having them on the wall, I'd have them on easels set up around me, almost like a little gallery all set up around me, so that when I'm selling, they can see the artwork, and whether it's a collection or one large piece, canvas, brush oil for me, or paint, or fine art black and white, they're seeing it, you know, virtually there. They're seeing it on the sales call. So I'm really glad I have all these, and I can walk around and talk about frames and, you know, textures. And all I can do is show them. But having all those different samples is super helpful. Now more than ever. I know it's always been helpful in the sales room, or, you know, while you're working with your client in your studio. But I'm so glad I have these, because I'm afraid that if I didn't have them set up when I'm doing the online sale, it'd be really hard, because we're on ProSelect, on GoToMeeting,
Yeah.
and then I can share my video and go back and take them off of the screen and to my actual surroundings. So, so yeah, I think studio samples are very important, whether you have a studio or not. I mean, I think that even if you don't have a studio, having an online gallery of installations and of products and being able to carry samples, and maybe it's not a 40-inch, maybe it's a small, just this is what a canvas is, this is what our fine art is, this is what, and then showing them something. Okay, now this is an installation of a collection from a family session I did, or this is an installation of a family portrait over the fireplace. So those photographers who don't have a space like we do, I still think you can use great samples like this in your sales process.
Yeah.
And sales process.
So if you, because you've got me thinking about this too, if you had let's say you're doing everything virtually, I think some sort of lookbook is a great idea, right? Either of installations you've already done or just of what your intention is with these products would be a good idea. And then even like you said, if you had physical samples that you could at least hold so that you could show the texture or show the detail, of what that means. It doesn't have to mean you can't hold up in your arms this massive image, but you could show that massive image on a wall in some sort of mock-up like with ProSelect or with Fundy software, and then actually be able to hold in your hand and this is what that texture looks like. And here's the difference between matte and, laminate finish or something like that, Even
if it's just a piece of it. And I would go so far as to, instead of printing, so one of my studios I work with that wanted to get into selling more oil portraits, and it was the right fit for them, but they're not in a studio space. They sell and work on location. And they were like, well, I'll just print an 11 by 14 and paint it. I'm like, no, print an 11 by 14 piece of an oil and just paint that. When you're showing somebody an 11 by 14 painted, they're going to go, that's nice. That'll work. If you're showing me a piece of it, right? I'm like a sample, if you ever bought carpet or tile, you see a chip.
Yeah,
or
you just see a little.
You're not seeing an entire installation of it. So show me a piece of it and then go online, or even better, print out a personalized lookbook of what yours could look like in your home. And if you have images of the space and you have photographed the session, you can put together even almost like a fake lookbook, meaning you're not going to print and paint all those images, but you can do enough that it'll show in a printed book or certainly on an online book. And I think that's important. And one thing we do a lot, because we want to sell those textures and the paintings and all, is we will always do a pullback. We'll show an installation and a pullback, and then we'll zoom in on the details. And so that they can actually, if they're not in person, they can see brush strokes or see the texture of the canvas or the weave of the fine art paper. And if you pull in and get a really great tight shot of it, that is a great way for people to understand the difference of just a beautiful flat image that you're sharing on social media, on your website or what have you, versus an actual product.
Yeah.
And I show them all together. I'll show the installation, the product, and then maybe 2 or 3 real close-ups, getting the really fine details of that product.
I think that would work. I think
it does.
I think that would work. The other thing, I saw a product, because you know how susceptible I am to Instagram advertising, right? As you are too. I know. So there's this product now, and I will find the name of it and I will post it because I can't think of it right now. But it's a little attachment for your phone for your phone, and it follows you around. So if you were to do, have you seen that where it has motion tracking, and so then it just follows you around the whole time? I know you've seen that ad. I keep looking at that and I'm like, oh man, that would actually be great for online sales. You know what I mean? If I was able to use that and FaceTime my client and then just set it up on a stand, and if I can still go into the studio and show products, I could just walk toward them around and wear my AirPods and have the ability to speak on a microphone to them through the whole thing. That would be cool.
No, I agree. And actually you have these, and I saw an advertisement for the other day, but even if you're going to be doing that, having good lighting, which I don't right now because I'm in we're all ostracized to these.
I know. I'm always going to be blue now because I'm in this navy blue room.
I've tried to use natural light, and I'm not a natural light photographer, and it shows right now. But the moving around, and then these little lapel mics, which I know you got some, and
did.
then they have these other ones that are perfect for your phone, but so that you're getting a really good, really strong, your voice is coming through and it's not breaking up, and all these things for online selling, which I think, we're going to be doing for a little while, or online consultation. So that's kind of where we are now, where we've about done all of our sales from leftover sessions, but we're starting our online consultations. We did about 3 last week, I think, and just planning. And then that still involves me walking around and showing our work and what we're doing and examples for them to visualize what theirs is going to, be, and sharing images of their home and me being able to do that. So, whether you're doing this because you don't have a studio and you work on location and this becomes part of your workflow, whether it's some of us doing it right now because we have to, or we choose to, or you're just getting your studio spruced up. I think I told you and Angela Kirkian last week or week before that one of the first things Jamie did was call in 3 people, not photographers, not clients, and give them a video tour of the studio and say, okay, what are you seeing? And man, they tore us apart. Like they were like, that looks old. That's got to go. Why haven't you changed this curtain? Just things that we didn't notice. And I don't think our clients would have ever said anything.
No, but you get used to it, and it's not the thing that you're thinking of, No. So it's good to have that outside, and this is the time to be doing it,
Yeah.
So
maybe it's just cleaning up. It doesn't have to cost any money, but if your lab, like our lab, White House had to close due Minnesota, law. They're closed for 2 weeks, but man, they busted their butt and got, I think, everything out.
My stuff all got in. I have another shipment coming today, and then that's it.
Yeah. So, but they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and they're thinking of the safety, and health of their employees, which I admire. And, I think Minnesota was a mandate, so they didn't have any choice either. But, getting ready, and I know that like our lab still, I can reach out to Matt, or you can reach out to a representative and see if they're running any studio sample specials and things like that. A lot of labs do that. I think a lot of labs will do that now, understanding that a lot of us are in there sprucing up our studios and, helping us out. So I would not hesitate to reach out to your labs or album companies, image boxes, and just see what kind of specials they may have for studio samples. Most of them offer that anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think now is the right time to be thinking about freshening up things, especially if you do have a brick and mortar place like we do. It's a good idea to go ahead and, now is a good time to clean. I'm thinking about once I get everything on the wall, so we've got phase 1 done of the install, and then we have phase 2 coming. So I have another 40 by 60, but this time it's a canvas that's coming in today. And then I have the groupings that we have to get up. And so once that's all up, I'm going to clean and organize, and then I'm going to full photograph the studio, just the actual shooting space, the sales room. I'm going to photograph my office. I'm just going to, so that I can have a little bit of a virtual tour set up.
Yep.
And before, this is one of those things that I just didn't have time to do. But I think now that we're going to have the big art on and it's nice and impactful. Even just with my phone taking pictures, and I posted some to my stories yesterday, I was like, man, this place is like just night and day, the difference. One other trick that I never put much thought into, and because this is just not how your brain works like this, mine does not work like this because I'm thinking about lights. But on the coffee table, so I had Matt walking around with me on a virtual, Matt from White House, on doing a FaceTime. And he was like, show me around the studio. And so he goes, sit down where your client sits down. So I sit down where the client sits down. He's like, so that coffee table that you've got right there. And on the coffee table, I have like my, my image box, my 3XM image box is on there. I have an 8x10 on a stand, and I have an album on the coffee table. And he was like, so do you normally have that 8x10 on the coffee table? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I would put it away. And I was like, oh, but, they always, if they ask about it, it's just handy. He goes, stop worrying about what's convenient for you and just put it out of sight until they ask for it. Because if you have to get up and go get the 8x10 out to show them, it's just, it's a different way of it makes their brains work a different way. If you have to get up and go get that product, that's sort of only put in front of them what you're hoping that they do. And an album is fine if that's what, that's what you want to push. He was like, even in your image box is fine because that's your big ticket digital item. So if they're going to go there, he was like, but you might even put the digital box over, if your goal is really to sell the wall art, stop putting small things in front of them. Just have the wall art be what it is they see. And I was just like, oh, I guess I could get up and go get the image box when it comes up.
Yeah, he's exactly right. We've been
for
26 years, I think. We have one tiny little coffee table. It's not even, I wouldn't even call it a coffee table. It's so small. Only thing we have on there are fine art books. So it's just books of the Met or the Louvre. It's, our art hanging on, amazing art. That's all we have.
So it's even more like setting in the wall art.
Yeah. So image boxes. I don't have small prints anywhere. I think I have an 11 by 14 canvas in a drawer that I make. If someone asks about it, I'll go, oh, it's been so long since I saw one. Let me see if I can find one. And I'd literally dig it out of the bottom of the drawer. Because that's how much value I put in it. I don't have small prints unless they're matted and framed in a collection. Those only live in the sales room because those are only add-on products. The 3XM folios, which I love and I sell a lot of, and they are an expensive ticket item, but that's not where I want my focus. When you walk in our studio, you will walk around, and until you get into our sales room, you won't see anything below 24-inch canvas or painted. Or fine art, black and white, matted, framed, whatever. So nothing lives outside of that sales room that's not anything that I consider an add-on, which would be my albums, boxes, gift prints, matted and framed, wall art or accent pieces. They all live in the sales room. But by the time we get to the sales room, if I've done my job right, I've already sold the wall art. These are just hopefully the extra couple thousands of dollars worth of stuff I'll add on. So my coffee table only has, amazing, beautifully bound art books, like, from museums.
See, that's so interesting. I just, again, when I was just feeling around in the dark with this stuff as I was coming up and started doing in-person sales. And in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's minds, you're like, I want to show all the things you can do with my art. And so like I would arrange a tabletop arrangement with like small prints in it. And I would, would do all that stuff because this is what people are doing in their homes. And this might even be something that I do in my own home. Like I'm looking at my wall that you can't see right now, and I have 2 shelves up, and I have a different arrangement of images and pictures and painting and awards and stuff, like on and Lucy's awards because I'm at home. But I have this arrangement that's all mixed and small because it's a small shelf. But that's not what I want to sell.
You're going to sell those anyway. So like if you maybe one day we'll do that walk around my house. And so all my house is full of lots of large paintings and portraits. Like, behind me, that's a 40-inch painted, portrait of my niece and my son that I did years ago. They were like 2 and 3 years old. But I probably have a couple hundred small frames all over my house from just our whole life, from when Daryl and I got engaged, the old portraits and pictures of, grandparents, great grandparents, that type thing, both sides of the family. Because I wanted the kids to grow up seeing these people. My father passed away when I was so young, like portrait pictures of him. They're all small. But, my focus in the studio for me, and it depends on your business model, guys. So, this is my business model, this is Kira's, but for me, it's always selling that wall portrait installation, whether it's one large piece or it's a collection from that session. So I don't want to even think about the small prints and frames or albums and image box. I don't want to even think about that until we've already nailed that down. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have clients that come in sometimes and only want small prints or only want, something like that. And that's totally fine. If that's what we discuss and I understand, then we just go straight to the point and we rock and roll. That's fine. But if they come to me because they think they want to do something of their family or they think they want to put something over the couch, it's just a different funnel. You know what I mean? They come in through that funnel, and then we start planning, and I go through site visits, and, we do estimates, and we do all those things. If they come in, and that's a very highly customized, highly touch process. If they're an existing client or a new client, and they say, no, we just want to do, I just need, my daughter's in a wedding, and I love this dress. I want some nice prints of it for my mom and me, maybe something for the office. Then that's a different way. Absolutely. Let's get it scheduled Tuesday at 12, Thursday at 1:30, meaning they're not getting prime time.
Right.
I'll certainly do a phone or in-person consultation with them even if they want to plan it, but I'm not going to do a site visit and all that stuff.
The whole thing, because you're not planning for that kind of arrangement.
No, and I love that business too, don't get me wrong. But it's not what my studio focuses on. Even though I do it, I actually will have people more often than not at this point. They'll say, do you sell 5 by, do you sell 8 by 10? Like we have one, like, do you have anything like that? And I'll go, oh my gosh, absolutely. We can do any amount of gift prints you want. Let's just focus on the art first, and then we can talk about that. But it's gotten to the point where people aren't even sure if we sell those because they're just
because they don't see it.
No, right.
So, and I think it's interesting too, because you call, and I think both are correct, but you call yours gift prints and I call mine desktop or gift prints, just because we're telling them, like, this is something you would give to your in-laws, the grandparents or whatever, or desktop. This is something that you would never put on your wall. Right. You know what I mean? Like that would be crazy, but, so even in the way that you're naming your 8x10s and smaller, there's psychology behind that as well. And certainly if, guys, if you're like, I love creating small gallery walls, then that's what you should be showing in your, Absolutely. If you've got a great way to sell it, then that's the first thing they should see when they walk in. But Absolutely. I guess the long, hard lesson expensive lesson, because, you buy all these things, you're like, well, this is a great image. I'm going to have it printed and put it up in the studio. But with no thought behind what it's on, just that it's on something I carry, now, we've got it. Everything that's in there, everything that somebody sees when they walk in there is something that I would be happy with them walking out with, yes. And that's the idea. And removing all the things I don't carry anymore.
Right.
So like if I don't carry unframed canvas anymore. That's not something that I push, just wrapped canvas. So, because in my thinking behind that, if anyone's interested, it's because if they purchase digital files from me, which are a premium price, then they can have that made, and you can pretty much get it anywhere. So if I'm selling a canvas product, I want it to be like, you can't get this anywhere.
Exactly.
So I had some canvas products that were older and just hanging in the kitchen, which people walk through to get to the bathroom. Right. Right. And so I've got to take all that down.
Yeah.
Because I don't want somebody going, oh, I like this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing. When you're selling anything that's readily available in the marketplace, you're setting yourself up for possible failure. And I've said this ever since we went digital. We just can't sell things that they can get on a Groupon or, go to Walgreens and order from the photo kiosk or whatever. So I've just stayed away from that. And we don't sell very many gallery wraps at all, just because it doesn't lend itself to our work. However, I've had some clients come in and ask about them because they already had gone to another photographer or whatever. And I'm saying, absolutely. But same thing here. We only sell them floated and framed because I don't want to sell just, for me, it just looks like stretcher canvas that we've sold for, back in film day. It's just like a big stretcher on the wall. I'm like, it just looks so odd to me. So
I when I started, that's all I sold, and it was because it was what I saw other people selling, and then as it went on, I'll tell you when I stopped doing it. This is the moment I stopped doing it. I went to a holiday party at a friend's home, and the friend was also a client. And she had purchased digital files from a session, and she said, look, I'm just going to print them myself. And it was one of those situations where it was a good friend and had been a friend before I started my business. So I never pushed hard sales on them. Until, and so I just, sure, whatever. And I get to this holiday party in her gorgeous new house, which is massive. And she cannot stop bragging about the photos that I did of her family and showing everybody the photos that I did. And she'd had them done on just stretched canvas. I don't even think it was on wood. I think it was on like cardboard or something. What I mean? Because it just looked like I could poke it and it would make a noise or something, and it was so overexposed. Like the printing was so overexposed on everything that it was just horrific looking to me, like every bit of it, and I was like, I'm not going to sell this anymore because I couldn't. I wanted her to stop talking. And they all didn't know. I guess they all thought it was great or whatever. But I'm at this holiday party and I'm embarrassed by this product, and I'm like, I can't carry anything that looks like this product. Right. I just can't.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, that's why if we do have anything, we do have digitals included in some things, different price points, but we always are very clear that they're only gift size resolution, which means you can't print over than 10 inches on them. And that's exactly why. Because, if you outsource any of that printing, they're going to auto expose, auto correct, whatever. And ours don't need that. They are perfect as is. Just direct print. Don't monkey with them. We actually have information that says that. But I know I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've seen other people have that same issue, or I've been to places and seen people's portraits on the wall and I think, ooh, I bet that photographer didn't print this. This doesn't look right, or maybe they did. I don't know, but
maybe, who
I don't
knows?
But we all change and adjust in our studio. I mean, we definitely have, over the years by adding different finishes or what have you. But, if you, like I said, I think a good rule of thumb is if you can find it, if you can Google it and find a coupon for it online, don't sell it because it's no longer a professional product. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because why? If you're comfortable, if you're comfortable with selling digital files, nobody's saying don't do that. But just know, you don't want to. What's the point in you carrying a product that they could then purchase a digital file for and then go make themselves?
Exactly. So that's a great point because I understand a lot of people, maybe that's what they do and that's fine. I would encourage you to limit the resolution or size on your file so that they can't buy some high resolution file that they could print as large as they want. I mean, allowing them to purchase files that they can print nice size gift prints with and show off online. I think that's great. That's your business model. That's fine. But, allowing them to go and create large artwork for their walls with no supervision from the artist just seems disrespectful to your work. You know what I mean? And I mean, we're all better than that as professional photographers. So I do worry about that. And I've seen it. And, I guess if we could move away, that may be the first step in moving away from, selling digital, because maybe that's your business model. But if they want installations, then they have to purchase that beautiful canvas masonite or float, framed gallery wrap from you, or metal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. As a consumer, the one that we just installed before this whole thing happened, that my brother went out and installed, it was a 50-inch.
Yeah.
It was a 50-inch canvas with a frame on it.
Right.
And that would be, as a consumer, a stressful order to make on my own. You know what I mean? Like, I think I know this client and I know that she never would attempt to order a 50-inch for her wall on her own. You know what I mean? Like, and
much less a frame and get it framed and
get it and do the whole thing. And I labored over every square inch of this image because whatever you can't have you can't have a piece of lint on a piece of fabric because that will show up huge on a 50-inch thing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what they're paying you for, that as well, to go over and make sure that everything that's on that image is perfect, that the printing is perfect. Would a digital file, if I sell it, I guess my point is this, if I sold a digital file to a client and just as a, knowing that it would be printed maybe up to 8x10, if they wanted to do it, I'm not going in there and zooming in close and making sure that every little hair is accounted for and I'm retouching it, but I'm not checking for things I would check for if it was going to be 50 inches on the wall.
Of course, because a little over, on the hair retouching or, whatever. I mean, you're not going to see it up to probably 14 inches really. Mm-mm. But once you start printing, that comes in, and we've all probably done it. Those of us that print large stuff, every once in a while that image will come in and your stomach will just sink because you're like, well, that's getting reprinted because I missed it. Like I didn't see that wrinkle or his, I had one, I had a large print right before this happened and I did not notice. None of us noticed it. We didn't catch it in the sales room, but the little kid's collar had curled up. And it came in 40 inches and all I could see was that collar. Now, I could have probably tried to pass it off or whatever. And they may have thought, well, I should have said something. But no, that was my job. At that point, when they're investing at that level, it is my job to make sure that collar is laying flat and not flipping up. So, those are things that we need to take time to look for. And we do. We spend a lot of time on that, looking at every pixel of that image because it can be a costly mistake to us, and we want to make sure that it's as perfect as we can make it, or as perfect as we feel like perfect is when it's delivered. So
I have to look at those. I'll edit those images or look at them or send it out and then review it. I have to look at it close and then get up and stop and do something else and come back and look at it again with like fresh eyes, or I'll send it to a friend and be like, hey, another photographer or something, like, will you look at this and just, is there anything that stands out that if you would be worried about if it were huge? Because I'm too close to it at some point,
No, you're absolutely. I think you sent me the last one and I said, something's funky in the hair. And you're like, I didn't touch the hair. Oh, wait, but no, never mind. I see it. And I don't know what it was. It was something really like I had to zoom in. But if if you sent that to me, I don't want to say it looks great. I mean, I'll zoom in on it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I always think of that, in relation to image competition. Like when when you hear a judge say something, I see cloning in the bushes or whatever. And you're like, I didn't clone any bushes. It doesn't matter if it looks like there's something wrong there. There's something wrong there. So, yeah. But I don't look at, I didn't look at her hair at all because I didn't do anything to her hair. So I wasn't looking through the image at that stuff. So that's why you send it to a friend.
Right. Because sometimes weird things happen. The light hits it just right and it looks like there's weird breaks in the hair. Or there's just different little things that happen, especially with studio work, I find. And environmental in the foliage, I think you're right about that. But the good thing is that you've got all these new studio samples. I didn't get all mine done. I'm working on this hospital installation, and that's about 32 pieces I have to get ready. So hopefully by the time White House is up and running, I'll be able to send those and get those done. But we need to replace our studio samples. I need to do that. I need to do curtains. There's a lot of things in our studio that I've really let slide. I admit it 100%. But after we got our, butt whooped by these 3 people that Jamie touched base with 2 weeks ago, now I'm even more embarrassed than ever.
No, but it'd be okay. But I would argue that you shouldn't be embarrassed. You should be grateful, and to have some time right now that you can be rethinking some of that stuff and planning some of it.
That's a really good point.
And give it to Jamie. You can work on the hospital displays, and then
yes, yes. I had another sale Friday, and it's totally unexpected. I didn't expect it to be. And this is the 3rd time this has happened. So just a point, guys, if you have any sessions that are in the hopper and they're not, they're kind of the appointment got canceled or postponed, reach out and say, hey, how are you guys doing? I just want to know, I'm so excited about your images. Do you want to log on and maybe do an online call? Maybe when the kids are iPad time or, maybe even, whatever. And 3 different people I know not overspent. They spent more than they thought. And all 3 of them said, I just need happiness right now, and these make me happy. All 3 of them, essentially, not verbatim, said that. And one of them, my biggest one last week, which was, it was over $17,000 sale, was because it was an extended family and they can't see each other, and they're not going to see each other for Easter. Easter's off the table for them now because it's elderly grandparents and things. And, I haven't seen my mom. My kids haven't seen my mom. It's just that where we're at right now. And they're like, oh, I need this more than ever. So that was interesting. So be thinking about that. And, another point, something to think about is, and actually, somebody else told me this. I don't take credit, but he's exactly right. But my friend Steve said, if you're a higher end or a portrait photographer and selling portraits, high-end weddings, seniors, whatever, travel has always been one of our biggest competitors. Well, unfortunately, and I'm not enjoying this because I love to travel. Travel's off the table right now. So there's a lot of travel money sitting in families' bank accounts right now that it's not going to be spent. Those vacations or spring breaks, those were canceled. They can't make spring break come back. So, we're the second next one on that, luxury item spending list. So tap into that as you're thinking about your messaging and planning on things for, moving forward, because we will. But think about those things. That was just given to me, and I thought I'd share that today because it's really something to think about.
I think that is something to think about. And I think it's also interesting. I think so many of us were just so worried, and myself included, about the spending, 2, about people being annoyed or upset about rescheduling. And I have an example of that just happened right before we got on. I have this bank client that emailed me, and my heart sunk when I got the email because it was like, are you still working? We have a need. We need you to come and do a photo shoot. And I'm not, you know what I mean? I want everyone to stay home. They've closed all non-essential businesses around me. You know what I mean? And part of me is like, oh, I don't want to lose this client. I don't want to upset them. I could go do it. I could go do it because they're still open. They're a bank. They're an essential thing. And I thought better, and I wrote her back and I said, I'm so sorry. Right now they've just extended the social distancing to the end of April. So I'm trying to get things booked for the first week in May and further. If there's anything I can help you with then, please let me know. But as for right now, I'm not sure. I can't wait to get back to shooting, or something. Yeah. And thank you for understanding. And I was just worried she was going to come back and be like, okay, well, we really need it, so we're going to find somebody who is. She wrote back. She goes, no, I'm working from home too. I totally get it. This is a crazy time. I think they just thought they wanted something for social media, but this is certainly understandable. So don't worry about it. And I was like,
oh, thank you.
Relief.
No, yeah, you're right. We had I called you, I think, last week, and we had a client that was insisting, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I am not willing to put you or me or your child at risk. And I think she got mad, and I think she probably found somebody else, and it stinks. And, I don't like that, but she needed it, and I just had to hold my ground. And it's just, that was the right thing.
And I think it's a good example for people, because I think while she would have been happy and okay that I was like, sure, I'll go do it. You know what I mean? She's at home. She right. Didn't, you know what I mean? And if I'm trying to lead by example here, I keep getting upset personally that I don't think some people are taking it seriously enough. We're told to stay home, that's the best idea, and that's what we need to be doing. And yet I'm okay with going and doing like one-off headshot here that, I'm not trying to judge anyone here, but I mean, we need to get on board with this. So I need to practice what I keep saying out loud. It's like, and doing it. So I was grateful that she was and really, I think, expected me to not be working. You know what I mean? And I think it would have been a surprise to her if I'd said I was, So.
Right. And I think it makes us, you don't look desperate. Like, you know what I mean? And you're abiding by, what professionals and all officials are saying to do. And there's got to be a respect factor that comes with that. And if not, then probably not the right fit anyway. That's kind of how I feel about this client, that's how it ended up. And I'm sad it ended up that way, but I know we made the right decision. So
you're doing the right thing, and you just have to kind of hold fast with that. And I know that's tough right now, because I have the same fear that you guys are having. I'm worried that some other photographer is working and they'll go to them, but
they probably are.
Yeah.
They probably are.
Yeah.
Boo. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to see all of your new images. I'm sure you'll post them, maybe in the blog or something.
Yeah. I actually was planning a blog post. I've photographed just on my phone, just the first half of it. And once I get everything on the wall, I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm even thinking about doing like an Animoto. I'm going to try and use the Animoto video to create just like a little studio tour.
Nice.
That's my idea, because I'm not real good at editing video. I've got iMovie and everything, but I think I'm going to try the tools that are on Animoto and see if I can.
I like Animoto. That's a good choice and easy to use.
And it's not a complicated video. I've got some stills and some short video clips, and I think that's probably perfect for what I need to do. So I know you have a busy day ahead of you, so I'm going to let you get off this call. But thank you guys, for those who are watching. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed it. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Get Your Shoot Together. Follow us on Facebook at Get Your Shoot Together. You can email us at girl@getyourshoottogether.com. And you can subscribe to us on all the places where you can get podcasts. You can even subscribe to us on YouTube now. So we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, y'all.
All right.